Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff. It's been a busy week so far for Atlanta United, and that busy week will continue on Sunday at 3:30 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium with New York Red Bulls coming to town. It's going to be a very big, very busy weekend for sports across Atlanta. And we're excited to be a part of it with Atlanta United and ATL UTD2 also playing at home on Sunday, which we will preview in a little bit. So, Jason, we had 3 weeks off, not a whole lot to do. And now we've got a ton of action to process that has already gone on over the last couple of days and a big, big match to look ahead to on Sunday.
3 weeks off and now 3 games in a week. No rest for the wicked, huh? We got to jump straight back into it. And it's been tough. It was a very intense start back to action for Atlanta United when the Philadelphia Union came to town. And as we kind of relive the highlights from this game, I mean, one of the things that stuck with me from it was the intensity of the 90 minutes. It was a game that I felt drained after it. I know we saw Kubo Torres coming off when he was substituted, just dripping with sweat. It was a tough day at the office for both teams. It took a lot out of both.
There were two very good teams, and I thought they played a good match. If you would have told me coming into it on Sunday that Atlanta United without Joseph, without Hindman, would get a 2-2 draw against Philadelphia, I would have felt great about that. Unfortunately, the way it played out with Atlanta United getting 2 goals, nearly getting a penalty to set up a third potential goal, and ending up giving up 2 goals at the end of the match, that really, really hurt.
Yeah, the scoring opened in the second half with a corner from Brooks Lennon. It comes off of Casper Shabilko. Miles Robinson half-heartedly tried to claim this. Don't think he got a touch. Shabilko ends up putting it in to his own net. But Atlanta consistently was able to win corners, to win these set pieces. Brooks Lennon was outstanding all day long, puts it on a platter for Anton Walks. And we're thinking about how to celebrate a 2-0 win over the defending Supporter Shield champions. Great performance from Brooks Lennon that doesn't get lost in the way this finished. Lennon was immaculate in this game with his set piece delivery and his crossing in general.
But unfortunately, we know how this thing ended. And, it's so funny how the 2 times that Atlanta United has played Philadelphia Union at Mercedes-Benz Stadium this year, we've seen Atlanta United maybe play the best first half they've played all season twice. But you have to give Philadelphia a lot of credit responding really right off the kickoff from the Anton Walks goal to make it 2-1. And then look, is anyone in the world going to be able to stop this?
Not
From
anybody
Jacob
I know
Glesnes?
of. It's absurd from Jacob Glesnes to hit that as well as he did off the underside of the bar. No chance for Brad Gazan to get there. It finishes 2-2. Atlanta United then has to gather themselves and head up north to New Jersey to face New York City FC, who played on Saturday night against New England. And it was kind of obvious from early on, and especially in the second half, that it was NYCFC who had the fresher legs in this one. Atlanta United struggled to develop play out of the back. And in a team that is a possession-based team, developing play out of the back is so essential to everything. It's essential to the way you defend. It's essential to the chances you create. And it was a struggle to get out of their own half at times. Credit to NYC. They made it difficult for that to happen. That could have changed things early on. I think we forget about this shot from Eric Lopez. It takes a deflection. It's a big save from Sean Johnson. If Atlanta had stolen an early goal, especially on that moment, maybe we're having a different conversation about it. But New York City was able to control the game and eventually wear Atlanta down and open the scoring.
Yeah, and it's a shame too because I thought Atlanta United played well enough for stretches of this match to at least earn the draw. And Brad Guzan had a lot to do with it. The scramble defending had a lot to do with it
That
as
free
well.
kick from
Yeah,
Barco was another huge opportunity.
yeah,
That's another great one that Sean Johnson made a big play on.
yeah. He really Johnson. I think you could argue made the 2 most difficult saves of the match. But this is what frustrates me: one mistake and you're punished, and it happened against Philadelphia on Sunday, and one mistake here, unfortunately, and you're punished on this goal by Ismail Tajori Shrani.
Yeah, losing patience. It was tough to play out of the back, and that was one where Miles Robinson tried to be a little more progressive than the situation called for. The giveaway happens, and from there on, the legs weren't there to go find the game. And this is going to be an issue for Atlanta United, even coming into this weekend's match with the Red Bulls coming to town, because yes, they worked on fitness a great deal during the international break, but no fitness work you can do at any time prepares you for the types of games Atlanta's playing right now and the frequency of games. It's just not something you normally do. It's tough. And
Yeah, and
go ahead.
sorry, Jason.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the frequency. There's nothing you can do about it now.
Right.
Everyone in the league, save for one team, had to play midweek this week, but there was a difference. Atlanta United played Sunday and then had to travel against an opponent that played Saturday and did not have to travel. So really, Atlanta United's opponent playing at home had essentially an extra day and a half of rest on the Five Stripes. You don't like that. It's an unfortunate reality of the schedule. It's something you have to plan ahead for and deal with. But it was a big factor in what we saw Wednesday night at Red Bull Arena. I don't think there's much doubt about that.
No, and the nature of the game Sunday as well. You know, a game with Philadelphia is intense. A game like this game coming up on Sunday with the Red Bulls is intense. It's not your average match. So, you know, that's part of it. It's a difficult time in the schedule right now where Atlanta could have had 3 points going into Red Bull Arena. They weren't able to secure that. They weren't able to maybe get out of Red Bull Arena with a point last night. Felt like maybe they were going to be in that position, but the giveaway, they get punished. Let's hear what Anton Walks and Brad Gazan had to say after the match.
It's going to be another game on short rest, much like tonight. What can y'all do to make it better on Sunday? Because I just said he thought y'all were tired tonight. You're likely going to be tired on Sunday.
We need to rest better, do more recovery, I think. You know, not that we haven't, but maybe up the sports science stuff, make sure our bodies are right. I think most importantly, going to the next games, our minds are right and we're not too down on ourselves, because I feel we was a bit down on ourselves to start off with from the first whistle today, especially after we dropped 2 points. So, yeah, it's one of those things where you got to deal with it. You know, we sign up for it. That's part of being a professional athlete, and you can't use it as an excuse, because there's plenty of other teams and plenty of other players that would have to take our opportunities away from us. So no excuses. We've got to just do the right thing and make sure we prepare how we're supposed to as professional athletes.
Are there any areas that the team believes they can improve? Is there something? Is it about possession? Is it coming out of the back? Is it playing through pressure? I mean, NYCFC is a good team. You have to give them credit. But what do you think right off the bat you guys can do better to just kind of get a result in these types of matches?
First, you need to understand the type of environment and game you're going into. Obviously, like you said, New York City is a good team, but in terms of improving, we can improve all over the pitch. It's not just one area. When it comes to building out of the back, you need players up top to be able to move and want the ball and be able to accomplish what we're trying to do in training, and ultimately on a match day, you need everyone on the same page. And you could talk about tiredness, you could talk about mental fatigue, you could talk about whatever you want. But we leave guys on islands at times with the ball, and you're ultimately going to turn the ball over. Whether that's in the defensive third, the middle third, the attacking third. I'm sure you guys will know better than me, but in terms of opportunities created, I'm not sure we had a whole lot.
So you could hear the frustration, I think, from Anton Walks and from Brad Gazan there. Anton talking a lot about what players can do, maybe away from the training ground, to prepare and be ready for these types of challenges with a lot of games in a short period of time. He's been through that in his career, whether it was here in Atlanta with Portsmouth as well. Championship's a brutal schedule. They're used to playing, 3 games in a week. He's been through that. Brad said something that I wanted to mention, though, about staying connected and not having players end up on islands. And that was a real challenge in the NYC match, because, maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's being on the road, maybe it's just the way the match played out, but it felt like quite often the team was disconnected. And when they've been at their best this season, building out of the back, playing into the attacking half, then defending when transitions happen, they've been connected. There hasn't been a lot of space between the lines. And last night, against New York City, it felt like there was a lot of space between the different lines on the field.
It's tough. You feel like you were really close to getting maybe 7 points out of your last 3 matches, and instead you only got 2 points out of your last 3 matches. So long way to go in this season. And reinforcements are coming. Copa America will be over soon. Joseph Martinez, Ronald Hernandez will be back. Unfortunately, then you might be losing players to the Gold Cup. You might be losing players to the Olympics. But this is the peril of being a big club, and this is where your academy players, your ETL UTD2 players are going to be very, very important for you later on this summer. And we have seen some tremendous development, especially among some players on the two. Let's check in now from the Proving Ground, because this is a big week. Atlanta United 2 hosting OKC Energy on Sunday at Kennesaw. And it was also, Jason, a really, really big week for the academy.
Yeah, big week for the academy, and it's an element of the Proving Ground that we see with the twos a good bit, but there's a lot of guys who come through the academy that maybe we see here and there with the twos, but they don't quite make it to that level, and that's completely fine. Those players go on and get an opportunity to play in college, and as we've seen this past year, Bryce Washington, Machop Chol, guys who weren't ready for a pro contract after their academy time was up, they went and improved themselves in the collegiate game to the point that they have now come back and signed homegrown contracts with Atlanta United. That can happen for anybody who comes through the Atlanta United Academy. It's been a crazy year for the academy, with the development academy from US Soccer closing down, MLS Next opening up, with everything we've dealt with the pandemic. But this week was a big week because it was graduation week.
Having a college signing day / graduation party in late June kind of epitomizes the year that we've just had. But we still want to celebrate what these guys have given to this academy, what these guys have given to this club, because it's a lot. It's a really good group. It's a group that is a really fond part in my heart, because I started as a U12 coach here. So I got to see you guys basically move all the way up and all the way through it. This is a group that, for me, shows what the culture of this academy should be. It's about hunger, it's about hard work, and it's about humility. And all of you guys show that every single day. And that's what makes me the most proud. Whether you're going to college, whether you're going to be a pro, whether you're going to go into the work, whatever. I think showing those things is the biggest part of being here, and it's the biggest part of this small group of guys.
One of the real underrated components of the academy and these players that come through, we talk about it with youth soccer all the time, is this is the next generation that feeds the soccer ecosystem in our country. If these guys make it as pros, that's amazing. If they get to go to college on a scholarship and play, amazing. But so many of these guys stay connected to the game, and then they start to coach, or maybe referee, or maybe become administrators in clubs. And the growth of soccer in this country is because of those types of kids staying connected. And hopefully here in Atlanta, with the academy now, 5+ years old, we see that growth really start to affect soccer in our communities because of graduates who've had this kind of training and are able to then take it out into the real world and bring it back to the game that we all love.
Yeah. Really cool moment, though, this week for the academy and everyone involved in it. And it really did. I know it's a cliche, but it really does take a village. And just really great to have it all lead up to a moment like that. Now, the twos are going to play Sunday after the first team up in Kennesaw. A familiar opponent for them, OKC Energy. They've seen him a couple times this year. Jack Collison had a little bit of extra time this week to work with the group. So what are you expecting for say Aidan McFadden, Connor Stanley, and the twos against OKC on Sunday?
That's a team against OKC that they've had a lot of success with. So it's a team that I think the twos will be very confident against. And they needed a little bit of time after a lot of transition with Jack Collison taking over, some tough games immediately, a tough trip to Memphis that was made tougher by a first half red card. Now Jack has had the time to work with the group on the training pitch, and especially the younger guys. Managing a second team is really difficult, and Jack Collison is new in that role because the group of players shifts all the time. And with the first team back in action, he hasn't had first team players available as much as maybe, they were earlier in the season for Tony Annan. So he's got to work with a consistent group, some academy guys, some of the guys under twos contracts. They've built a little bit of cohesion. So getting a good week and a half, I expect a team that comes out chomping at the bit to make up for the points that they dropped in Memphis and trying to get 3 against a team that they've picked up 3 before already on the road.
Any truth to the rumor they're getting you a helicopter to take you from Mercedes-Benz Stadium up to Kennesaw on Sunday?
No helicopter, but it's going to be a wild day. It'll be the first time I've ever done anything like this. So the timing worked out great to where the first team is at the Benz in the afternoon. We'll be off the air in plenty of time, barring crazy traffic. It is a Sunday. I think I'll get lucky with this. To get from the Benz to Fifth Third Bank Stadium in time for Atlanta United 2. So doing a radio game in the afternoon, an ESPN Plus game starting at 7:30. I've never done this one before, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Speaking from experience as someone who's had to do this a few times lately, make sure you eat between games. That's very, very important. I forgot to do that last Sunday.
Oh, no.
Big mistake for me. Big mistake. Anyhow, not a mistake as we look at the MLS scores, starting first from last week. And now remember, we've had 2 sets of fixtures here. These are matches from last weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Nashville suffering their first loss of the season to Red Bulls. That was on Saturday. You had Seattle come up with a 2-1 win over LA Galaxy. I thought that Portland win over SKC, Jason, was a really, really big one for the Timbers. They've been scuffling a little bit, and SKC, a very, very good opponent. That was a solid win by the Timbers.
Yeah, it's a big win for Portland against Sporting Kansas City, who's one of the best teams in the West. I think a couple of other important results here. Columbus with the 2-0 win over Chicago. Final game at historic Crew Stadium. They'll be opening up their new park here very soon. Looking forward to seeing a game from there, hopefully this year. And then Austin opening up their new stadium, their first home match in history. Matthew McConaughey broke out the green suit, the bongo drums. It was exciting. It was a happening. It was a very cool thing to see. The game, scoreless draw, maybe not the most exciting, but Austin being a part of this league, it's thrilling to see what's going on down in Texas.
Well, at least San Jose kept a clean sheet on Saturday, because on Tuesday, not so much.
No.
Here are the results from what happened on Wednesday, and it does not include San Jose's 5-0 loss on Tuesday.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, to a team we probably don't really like talking about too much on the AT&T countdown to kickoff. But it was a busy night Wednesday night in Major League Soccer. A lot of low-scoring matches. I think we expected that because of the fixture congestion. You saw Montreal DC play to a scoreless draw. Philadelphia Columbus was kind of grinding. What else stands out to you in the action from Wednesday night, Jason?
3 assists for Carlos Heel and the New England Revolution. He has 10 assists in 10 matches this season. That's on pace to be the best year ever from an assist mark. Carlos Valderrama set that in year 1 back in 1996 with the Tampa Bay Mutiny. Carlos Heel is your MVP right now in Major League Soccer, in my opinion. Red Bulls put up a fight. They fell down 3-0. They put up a fight, but not enough to beat the Revolution, who have been the class of the East. Minnesota maybe starting to put things together now. A 2-0 win is a little more comprehensive. There had been a couple of draws, a couple of really narrow 1-0 wins. Maybe the Loons have gotten it together. DC had a huge opportunity. They had a man advantage for the entire second half against Montreal. Not able to get a goal, not able to get a win. Houston and Portland 2-2. Houston with new ownership announced this week. Very exciting what's going on down for the Dynamo. Nashville bounced back with a big 3-2 win, and you would have never been able to tell me that Jack Mayer, who was with a USL Championship team on loan earlier this week, and Luke Hawkinson would be the goal scorers. Hackinson got 2 in the final 10 minutes to win that for Nashville. I did not see that one coming.
No, that's big. That's very, very big for them, coming off their first loss of the year to New York Red Bulls on Saturday. Feels like the tables have kind of started to solidify a little bit, at least at the very top and the very bottom. There's a lot of bunching up in the mid-tables in both the East and the Western Conference. Do you feel like New England kind of controls the East right now?
I think so. I think New England under Bruce Arena is just a really solid team, and they've had a lot of continuity. You go back to Bruce Arena's first year when he took over for Brad Friedel and took that team that was not expected to make the playoffs into a playoff game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That group has stayed pretty much intact and has improved with adding a player like Adam Buksa. They're the class of the East. They've got a 5-point lead at the top of the table right now. Orlando has a game in hand, and Orlando is coming off of that big win. They get Daryl Dike back as well. Nani has been brilliant this season for Orlando. Defensively, Orlando's been great as well. I think that's a very underrated part of what is going on for Oscar Pareja. Philadelphia is right there as well with 18 points. Then it gets really tight. And that's what jumps out to me about the East. As good as New England, Orlando, and Philly have been and expected to be, 14 points, 3 teams, NYC, Columbus, and Nashville. DC has 13, which was not expected. 2 on 12, Red Bulls and Montreal. I don't think Montreal is expected to be in that group. And then on 11, Atlanta United, right there in the mix. Little bit of a gap down to Miami, Cincinnati, Toronto, and Chicago. And Toronto's a team that I don't think was expected to be where they are in the table. But that gaggle between 11 and 14 points is going to be one to watch here in these summer months, because there's going to have to be some separation that happens with this group. Who's going to separate themselves up and who's going to separate themselves on the other side of that playoff line?
If you look at it in terms of points per match, it's even closer in that gaggle right now. So long way to go, but starting to see some trends developing on the table. And Atlanta United's got some work to do to get back above the line on the table right now. And hopefully it starts on Sunday against New York Red Bulls. And it's interesting, Jason, because I think we've become accustomed to like the same names on Red Bulls over the years. Guys like Aaron Long and Mark Shatkovsky and guys, but they aren't there anymore. There are some new faces that have been added into this Red Bulls team. Fabio, in particular, someone who has played very well for them as an MLS newcomer.
Yeah, let's take a look at some highlights from Fabio, a player that I think the league is starting to get to know. It was a little bit of a challenge for him at first, because the Red Bulls style isn't one that you walk into and maybe grasp as a striker, because there's a lot of defensive responsibilities. Also, Fabio's a player who brings others into the game. He's a really interesting player to watch because he doesn't score a ton of goals. He's finally gotten a goal for the Red Bulls, but he brings others into the play and he creates for others. That's a really special thing to have out of your number 9. And the way that the Red Bulls play, it's not really about a star. You know, they've went away from those days of, you know, the Thierry Henrys and even the Bradley Wright Phillipses and the Sasha Klestjans. The team is the star. The way they play is the star. Fabio's a perfect fit because he's a very unselfish player. You see his size as well. He presents some interesting matchups. That volley, that's a sweet goal to get your first one. He's going to present some problems. And the partnership that he is forming with Patrick Klimala, who they signed from Celtic in Scotland, they haven't played together a lot, but it's starting to come together with some good results. That win over Nashville, even though they didn't get anything out of the match this week against New England, the fact that they came back and made it close is going to give them some confidence coming into the Benz on Sunday.
Yeah, they were down 3-0, I think, before it even reached the 50th minute on Wednesday night. Came back, made it 3-2, and really had New England on their heels there in New England's park at the end of the match. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. That takes us to predictions now. And for what it's worth, I kind of had a correct prediction last week. I said that Jackson Conway would make his MLS debut.
Yep.
And fortunately, Gabriel Heinze, knowing that time was running short for that prediction to come true, put Conway in right at the 90th minute. So that's 2 for me this year, I guess.
1.5, maybe?
No, it's 2. It's really 2.5. Because Atlanta United would score off a set piece against Chicago, and Barco pretty much scored off a set piece by putting it off the wall and then putting the rebound in that golazo. So 2.5.
Okay,
please.
fair enough.
At least 2.
I got
At
nothing.
least 2.
I got nothing. I had the wrong outside back getting on the score sheet last week. I had Bello getting there. Lennon got there instead. Lennon felt like he probably had a sore leg after taking so many corners in that match, setting a club record with 11. This is a tough one to get into predictions on this. Since you've got the advantage, you got to go first.
Atlanta United will score a goal on a counterattack in this match on Sunday.
Okay.
I kind of feel like Red Bulls, we're going to see them try to step up, apply some moments of pressure. And I think all it's going to take really is that one perfect ball on a counter. Maybe Atlanta United is able to counter press, win the ball, and then spring an attack down the flank. I would even give you a bonus prediction and say the assist would come from Brooks Lennon, because I think it'll come from a wide position, and Brooks Lennon leads the team in key passes. But I think Atlanta United will score a goal on Sunday on a counterattack.
Okay. I will go with a little bit different kind of prediction this week. I think because of the amount of games that they're playing in a short period of time, as well as having a few guys back who we saw for the first time against NYC in a while, Jurgen Damm and Mo Adams, I think there will be at least 3 changes to the starting lineup in terms of personnel from NYC to the Red Bulls. Some of it's by necessity. I think some of it's just going to be, who can answer the bell to a degree here. But the NYC match, fresh legs was an issue. And falling behind, there weren't any fresh legs to go chase the game. Jurgen Damm and Mo Adams needed the minutes, but they weren't in a position to impact the game, having not played in as long as they were. Unfortunately, you hope they catch lightning in a bottle, but it both took time to get into the flow. I think you'll see new faces from the start here, at least 3.
Okay. We are going to find out. I mean, Anton Walks has played every minute of every league match this year. Santi Sosa has played every minute of every league match. Miles Robinson has played almost every minute of every league match. So we're going to find out. I think that's a good prediction by you, Jason. But it's going to be a big day in downtown Atlanta on Sunday. You've got the Hawks and the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. And, of course, we'll be pulling for the Hawks Sunday night. But we want to get it started on a great note at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. We'll have an open roof as well. Atlanta United and New York Red Bulls, as Atlanta United tries to find something positive here to end the month of June. They certainly played well enough to beat Philadelphia Union. Things fell apart at the end. And then the match compression really, really burned them Wednesday night against New York City. Jason and I will be on the radio at 3 o'clock Sunday on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. And next week, we'll see you right back here at the Atlanta United YouTube page for another edition of the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff.